I'm Jason III with Lawson Jason III LLC, and we're going to highlight this week a group of individuals who are helping people re-enter society from incarceration. They're starting a program to help those who have been incarcerated return to the community, help those in the community deal, embrace, love, and understand how to deal with and embrace those who have been incarcerated, to encourage those who are still incarcerated and help them prepare for their re-entry into our community. This is a much needed service. This is something that we have not paid enough attention to. This is a powerful block in our community. With mass incarceration, many of us have been on situations where we either have been incarcerated or have been threatened with incarceration or have loved ones that have been incarcerated, and we need to assist them not only in returning to the community, but we need to welcome them back open arms. But we also need to make sure that we provide the kind of environment in which they can grow and prosper and then rejoin the community. There's a lot of talent that have been incarcerated, and there's a lot of talent that's returning to our communities from incarceration, and it's up to us not only to embrace that, but to make the most of that talent. So please embrace these individuals, listen to them, learn about their program. They have some additional information for you, how you can come involved in the things that are needed by those who are returning from incarceration to the community, and the things that we need to do in order to facilitate and love them. So this is Attorney Jason III for Lawson Jason III LLC, and I just wanted to share with you one of the things that we do in this law firm. We call ourselves the Activist Attorneys, and we are. And what we want to do is we want to create an environment where we have dialogue in the community and we increase and advance the needs of our community as we embrace all aspects of our community. So much love out to the brothers that you're about and sisters that you're about to listen to. Please, if you want more information, they'll provide the information at the end of the little presentation that we have. Or always, you can contact me here at Lawson Jason III LLC, and I'll be sure to put you in touch with them. Thank you.
So, what are you guys trying to do? What is this all about?
So, what we're trying to do is increase an awareness about the plight of formerly incarcerated people and incarcerated people. So currently, right now, there's a growing population of people returning to society, but they're unable to move past their convictions in a lot of ways, despite the work they've done themselves. So this is an opportunity to give individuals a space and an opportunity to kind of come out and let the world know like what they're working on, who they are, who they've become, to kind of juxtapose that to the worst thing they might have done in their life.
Well, let me first get you guys to introduce yourselves. So I want to start from, I guess, my right. So, and just tell us a little about yourself and who you are and what your experience is and what you want to share with your audience.
Right. So I'll start first by saying my name is William Freeman, formerly incarcerated of nearly 21 years. I've been on now a little over, well, I want to say August, I make 2 years. August the 22nd, I make 2 years I've been out. Since I've been out, I've worked as a contractor with a couple of organizations, in addition to recently graduating and earning my undergrad degree from Goucher College. And who I am is a person who is convinced that as a community we could develop a voting bloc, that we as a people, we could actually garner and have some power the minute we realize we actually got it, just by the fact that there's so many of us and that number's growing. So that's kind of like in the skinny of it, of who I am, what I'm trying to do.
How about you, young lady? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Renika Robinson Peoples. I currently work at a college. I am a student at Goucher College, studying business management as a major, sociology as a minor. I am a mother of a 24 and a 23-year-old. I am also a friend of many that are formerly incarcerated and currently incarcerated. And I work hard every day to support them and to maintain relationships and build that space for them, to uplift them and make sure that our voices, not as formerly incarcerated, but also as women, are heard.
How about you, brother?
My name is Donnie Harper. Formerly incarcerated. I served 22 years in a couple weeks. Came home, worked a number of odd jobs. Recently obtained my commercial driver's license, so I'm now working as a professional truck driver. My goal and what I hope to achieve is to connect the formerly incarcerated population. if we are creating so many opportunities, and one of the segments or population of people we need to reach back to are the formerly incarcerated, the ones who look and act just like ourselves.
How did you guys all get together? How did you meet? Become acquainted?
So I met Ramika going to Goucher. She works at Goucher and goes to Goucher. And I met Donnie. We were actually incarcerated at several locations, the same. And inside organizing, we facilitated and ran Youth Challenge, Men's Rap. You know, it was these programs where we wanted to like kind of help shape the way we thought about manhood behind bars, like reshape it, right? To change it from this, you know, animalistic, I gotta be the most violent person on the compound, to this, I gotta be the most responsible person on the compound, right? That was our mission. So I guess I'm connecting the three of us and meeting.
He's the common thread.
Okay, so I mean, how to be the most responsible from coming from how to be the most, violent or most aggressive, that transcends whether you incarcerated or you out here in the community. So what is the overall vision that you guys have? I mean, what are you trying to implement, and where are you going? What do you see the first step? This is for everybody. What do you see the first step being?
Well, I believe that whatever decade or time period that you're looking at, most young black men and black women commit crimes for economic reasons, and it's because of lack of opportunity. So again, formerly incarcerated individuals are coming home, they're creating businesses, they're forming organizations, and what we really need to do is connect with one another, because there's a commonality there, there's an understanding of what we've been through, different sentences, different judge, different part of town, same story. So we come together and create, even though there are businesses and organizations that are affording us opportunities, we can definitely supplement that by doing it for each other.
Okay. And so, Renika, how do you see facilitating the connection and bringing the different individuals and groups of people that are involved, either coming home or currently incarcerated or trying to assist those incarcerated? How do you see that working?
I can see that working. I feel like I've been in a lot of spaces where, in spaces where people that haven't traveled the roads that we've been, and it's kind of hard to communicate with them. It's kind of hard to get them to understand my perspective and my needs, because I come from a different place. But when I'm in a room where I am amongst formerly incarcerated men and women, it's easier for me to express myself. I don't have to convince them. They already know what's happening. I feel like being on this end and allowing people to come into this space, making them feel comfortable and saying like, this is a space for you, this space was created for you, you're included. This isn't a space where you're expected to be marginalized in any type of way. Once people know that they are allowed to be in these spaces, that will automatically give us the opportunity to connect, heal, and also push forward. So I feel like that work will come eventually. It's just creating that space for everyone.
And Brother Freeman, what do you see as the first step? I mean, what is the first step that you need to take, or not the first step, I guess that's the wrong way to put it. What is the next step that you envision that you guys are about to take and launch this project?
So I couldn't have said it better than Ramika said it in terms of creating that space. It's an old phrase, if you build it, they'll come, from the movie Field of Dreams. But, and I know that to be true. Like, and what I mean is there's spaces out here in Baltimore City that appear to be welcoming spaces for formerly incarcerated people, but what they are is they operate just like institutions. The minute people step in them, the first thing they are told is who they have to be like, right? Which, for somebody who had, again, pulling from what you said, someone who hasn't traveled our road, they wouldn't know how we hear that, right? So the first thing I hear is, wait, who I am is not welcome, right? And who you want me to be, another type of control or another type of institution, is what I gotta learn, and I gotta learn it quick, right? So now that we are in a space and we are actually in positions to garner and lead and facilitate that conversation, the next step is actually getting started. Bringing the people to the space, and then that healing process is going to be in conversation, right? Because like he said, different parts of town, and honestly, the more we hear each other speak, or people like us speak, the more it feels like, wow, I felt the same way. Another part of town, a different judge, a different length of time, same experience, right? Same outcome, same hurdles, same hoops, same obstacles, same stigmas. So, and once we can kind of get that out of the way, so the next phase is actually communicating that to each other, and then forming a bond that's more kinship-like, and less like, your name, somebody I know, and more like my sister and my brother, and getting back to that. And once we get that, I feel like trust, love is revolutionary in our community now. I do believe, like Donnie, that most crime is stimulated by economics, but who we choose to commit crimes on is a result of a lack of love for community and people like us, right?
Or even ourselves.
No,
I mean, editorial thing.
No, that's
One of the things that I always run into is people have, it's disrespect to others and other people's spaces and beings and well-being generally comes from a situation where they have not loved or disrespect to themselves. I always tell my daughters, you have to love yourself, and my sons too. Before you can love anybody else, you have to have a foundation of love. And a lot of times, I see so much self-hatred in our community. I can only imagine, one of the things I think, and again, I don't mean to editorialize, because I see people that have been formerly incarcerated. I see people, and the incarceration experience may have magnified and affected them, but still they're basically people that have the same issues, the same baggage, and the same thing that people out here on the street is, and if we all could embrace each other, those who have been incarcerated, formerly incarcerated, and those who've never been incarcerated, and see the humanity in each, that might help. But like I said, I want to understand from you guys, if I wanted to you get in touch or be of assistance or just communicate, if I had a family member who's incarcerated, or if I just understand better, how I can be of help as a member of the community, how would I go about getting in touch and joining our being of assistance to what you guys are doing?
Well, I think the feed off that is important to stay connected to the people that you went through that experience with. Too often we spend insurmountable times with an individual that we are forced to be in contact with, and you form a bond and you communicate with this person on a daily basis. But the minute that your sentence is over and you're released, it's like you kind of feel as though you need to forget part of that, or you need to leave part of that where it's at, when actually you need to bring that with you, because it kind of formed the person that you are today, and you wouldn't be the person that you are today without that experience. So you need to keep those bonds, intact, and stay in constant communication as much as possible, because you can definitely be an assistance, whether it's through underemployment, through just counseling, talking, experiencing the same things, and just verbalizing it and feeling better.
All right. And Nika, let me ask you, if you guys are formulating an organization or have formed one, again, if I wanted to join or get some information, how would I get in contact with you guys?
Right now, we don't have any contact information established. I'm available to give out my personal information until that is arranged, but just reach out to us, reach out to your people, that if you have people that are incarcerated, reach out to them. We spoke about this the other day, how important it is to have that support from family when you are incarcerated. A lot of times society looks down on people that are incarcerated, and family tend to pick up the same attitude and beliefs. So that's hurtful, to be in what we consider the worst place and positions in our lives and not have that family support. But then once we're released and things are going great, they're like, hey, remember me, cousin? Like that. No, I think you should just definitely stay true to your family, support your family, good, bad, and indifferent. So yeah, reach back to your own personal family if you have family and loved ones that are incarcerated. Check on them. that's important.
So, Brother Freeman, let me ask you. So, as you, for lack of reenter, I hate that term, but as you, is there a stigma, a scarlet letter? What do you run into in society, and what is the extra burden that is placed? I mean, you've done your sentence, you know, your whatever, your debt to society, as they would say. What is it that you're confronting when you come out, and how does that, you know, impact upon you?
That's a good question. If I may take a step back
Sure.
for a minute, you can reach out. You can follow me on Facebook. That's William Freeman, and you'll see the picture. Or you can follow me on Instagram. That's Hussein, HUSAYN 396. DM me. We're in that stage right now. We're formulating that, so you can DM me and I'll respond immediately. My Facebook page is open. My Instagram is private. However, it's not too many people I'm not accepting. Right.
All right, so just so that we had that again, in case somebody is listening. So, how do they get in contact with you? And then you can spread it to the people that are here with us.
Right.
What's the best way to get in contact with you again?
The best way to get in contact with me is on Facebook. So that's William Freeman. Again, you'll see my picture when you put William Freeman in. There's a couple on there. And then also on Instagram, that's Hussein 396. That's HUSAYN 396. You can follow me on both of those. And if you want to get involved, if you want to know more about what we're doing next, you can just direct message me, and I'll get right back in touch with you.
All right. So now back to the scarlet letter question, or
Sure,
whatever
sure.
you want. I mean, what is it that we as a community? Now, I've never been incarcerated, so as a community, what are we doing wrong, and what could we do better?
Right. So, as a community, one of the things we're doing wrong is we're buying into the social narrative against formerly incarcerated people. I mean, as a community, we're talking about sons, daughters, nieces, nephews. We're talking about cutting people off from our family and accepting that there's a difference between me and you simply because I was incarcerated for something I did, right? Whereas most people would say, and to with all due respect, would answer a question like, I've never been incarcerated. And I would say in America, 2020,
We're all incarcerated.
black skin is a
Yeah.
form of incarceration. And it's only a matter of time, right? So, and I'm constantly reminded, one of the individuals, again, what is the community doing? I like to look at other nations and what they did, right? And so when Hitler took Germany, right? Hitler did not come in for the Jews. That's not the way he came. Hitler came in first for the Unionists, right? People who are part of unions and separate themselves like this, right? And the rest of the community accepted that there was a difference between someone, a person, who was in a union and themselves. So they allowed that. But what it allowed was Hitler to gain momentum. Hitler gained momentum and a following and became a charismatic leader, and then he came for separate groups of people. So in the words of Angela Davis, she said, if they come for me in the evening, be aware or be wary that they'll come for you in the morning, right? So I think one of the things that we as a community are really missing with this is that there's no difference between me and you. I'm still your son, I'm still your brother, I'm still your husband, I'm still your family member, right? And in spite of what I've done, we all need to find a way to build a bridge and get over this mess, right? Love, I just was speaking on that, is revolutionary in our community. And forgiveness is attached to love, right? Not being in love, but you actually have to love yourself first to know that forgiving somebody first is for you. And then secondly is for that individual or group or whomever, right? So as a community, I think this is big. Somebody who looks like me, black and brown, when they hear I've been incarcerated, for them to take a step back is for them to keep a process going that they too one day could fall into, right? And then in the words of William Cross, who is this psychologist, this black psychologist who came up with this negrescence and these 5 stages of racialized identity, right? And what he says is that everybody is different until they realize my blackness is making me like you, right? So, and he breaks it down. The first stage is seeing your race as an obstacle, something to get over or past. And some people see a check or a salary or living in a certain community as that. However, I call your attention to cases like Tyler Perry being pulled over and you know, or Henry Louis Gates being pulled over and challenged about breaking into his own home and being put in handcuffs, or even Obama needing to have a beer on the White House lawn with a police officer who saw another black individual who was going into his own property. So the more and more we realize that as long as you look like me, you're just like me, then we're gonna have this problem. So first, as a community, the Scarlet Letter corporate or trying to, economically sustain myself. What we're missing as a community is we're not willing to hire people despite their criminal backgrounds, right? What I found is that individuals went to prison. We took care of cages ourselves, immaculately, waxed the floor, wiped down the walls repeatedly. The same rusted bump gets wiped off at least, I know in myself, twice a day with bleach water, right? So if you hire an individual that just took care of a cage, an above ground casket for years, and found joy and purpose in keeping that space clean, what would you be doing to give them a chance? Not to do $10, $11, $12 an hour, but to earn a meaningful wage, to get 401k, this is her field, to get 401k and be matched 100% up to 5% of the salary, and on and on and on, giving them an ability to actually become, breaking the generational curse of poverty, right? Giving them an opportunity to change the station and trajectory of where their family is going. There's personal lineage, right? That's important. So I think those two things are big. That is what's being missed in the community.
So, Renega, what do you see, like, from your experience at the college and all that, what are the obstacles that you're seeing that we put on people that are either incarcerated or coming back from incarceration, coming back into the community?
I'm speaking as a student. I can speak as a student on that. And what I see, the challenges is that, like, if you know my background, if you know where I come from, two things I've been faced with, and they're both annoying, is the first thing is, like, don't pacify me. Don't make the work easy, because you automatically assume that I can't do it. And then the other thing is, don't be the opposite. Don't be hard on me. Don't marginalize me. Don't micromanage me, because you assume that you're waiting for me to fuck up, right? So it's that fine line. Just treat me the same. Treat me as that very same student that I'm sitting next to, that grew up in the suburbs their whole life, was introduced to foreign language before they could even learn how to speak, right? Treat me the same. Put me on the same playing field.
What kind of assumptions do you run into out there? What do people assume when they see you?
Assume being formerly incarcerated after serving 14 and a half years. Assuming that being black, being a woman, that I have to, that I'm not able to maybe keep up, or I'm not able to do the work, or I might need to be coddled. Those things, yeah, assuming that those are the things. When if you get to know me, people that know me know that I'm very result driven. I'm hard on myself. A slight perfectionist. So I can arise to any occasion given the opportunity, but I can't do that if you're either not allowing me to do so, or if you're trying to hinder me from doing so in any type of way.
So I'm gonna get to you, brother. When people see you, they don't see you. They just see. Do they look to see you? You get what I'm trying to say? When they see you, they just see, like, okay, this is a person that was incarcerated or may still be incarcerated. Do they really see you, and how do you get people to kind of look and see who you are?
I work extra harder. I make myself seen.
Is that a burden?
It's stressful, but I'm up for the challenge.
So, economically, what could again, what's missing, and what could this community, I'm talking about Baltimore City, but I'm talking about Black Baltimore. And by the way, y'all, look, we can be as raw. This is, I want you to tell it like it is. So, you can be a little profane. You get too profane, I'll edit it out. But no, I want y'all to tell people need to know. I need to know, but people really need to know. But back to the economic question.
Well, the economics, I think it goes back to what you were talking to her about. I think when people see you and they know you were formerly incarcerated, the one word that comes to mind is inferior. They look at you and think that you're inferior for some reason, whatever. They don't understand the circumstances behind your incarceration, but they just feel as though you're inferior. And sometimes it just takes a matter of seconds to be that one person. It could be you and a friend of yours standing on the corner, and he decides, well, I'm a little thirsty, I'm gonna go to the store. He goes to the store, police pull up, you get locked up. He goes on to get a job with the phone company. You go on to do a 4 or 5 year bid. You come home, you look same person, and for some reason, because he has that job at the phone company, he thinks or he believes or people believe that he's better than you. But if you look at it in a juxtaposed position, he probably couldn't survive or make it through what you just went through. So I know what I'm made of. I know the character. I know what I'm built of. And a job, no matter what the task is probably, I probably look at it like it's nothing. But you look at it, it's like, oh, it's some monumental task. He won't be able to complete it. He won't be able to do it. Can he be trusted? And I'm looking at it like, man, I'll be done this in a couple hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing. So it's a stigma. It's just getting over the stigma and understanding I'm just like you. And in a lot of ways, you probably shouldn't say it, but I know I'm stronger than you. I know I'm more resourceful than you because I had to be. To do what I've done and be through what I've been through and to walk out on the other end and still have my mind intact, you know what I mean, my physical. I know what I'm made of. So just give them the opportunity. You just need opportunity. Give us a chance. Now, if that person doesn't take advantage of that chance, then that's one person, that's one situation. You can't put that over umbrella. Well, I never hollered, how I never got that was incarcerated because of this one guy. I mean, I'm quite sure if you go around the office, you have employees that have never been incarcerated that you probably wanted to could fire right now for just cause. So you mean just give them a fair shot. Just give us a fair shot. That's all.
So you think people look at incarcerated people just like all the same? I mean, it's funny because you obviously we come from the African American community, we come from the black community, we come from Baltimore, so people look down. The president said that no civilized human being would even want to live in this city. So, and that's the president of the United States now. No matter what we think of him, we know what he thinks of us. Okay. Well, part of the problem is sometimes for our community is we think of ourselves in that same vein. Do you guys seem to, as a subset, seem to say that people in the community look down on you? People that look down upon you. And so how do we reverse that so that we see, each other? Not only is the burden for incarcerated people, but this is black people. These black people sitting around this table. How can we stop looking down on ourselves and learn to love ourselves?
I think one of the things prison did for me, to answer that question, one of the things prison did for me was it forced me to look back. You said something earlier prior to us starting, is use this word saying kofa, this go back and fetch, right? This idea that something behind us we needed to go forward. I said all that to say education is big, right? So even knowing where ideology that holds one bad apple spoils the bunch come from, right? So that comes out of slavery, chattel slavery, where it was felt that if one slave rebelled in any way, showed any ability to stand up, showed that they had agency, that slave had to be squashed in such a way where burned publicly, torn by horses, beat, or transferred down south where they were breaking slaves, right? But he or she had to be dealt with, or they would spoil everybody else. That might spread like wildfire, right? So we use these things in reverse in our community. We actually think that all formerly incarcerated people and currently incarcerated people are the same because we bought into that narrative, right?
What I want to ask you is this, from a woman's perspective, what message do you have for the youth in our community and for other women that are out there, whether they be your mothers or daughters or even young women?
First thing and foremost is love yourself first. I feel like growing up for me, I for some reason was a people pleaser. I felt the need to be there for other people. I felt the need to put myself last and put people first and how they felt and what they needed, right? And learning how that it's okay to be that person, but in what way are you doing it, right? So back then, I could get a phone call and say, hey, we need to go and do this. And I'm like, hey, pull up. And I knew inside that thing that we were going to do was not the right thing to do. But I had a strong sense of loyalty, and I wanted to be there, and I wanted to be that person. And it took this experience, it took my incarceration, and now where I am today, all of that in mind, I realized that I can still be that person because that's the person I was born to be. Like that is what the gifts that God gave me, right? But learning how to utilize those gifts so I can still be that person. I can still show up for my friends. I can still be there to support them, but in what way, right? And so now that way is, hey, I need this, that, and the third, and you really need to like get here. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what we really need to do first. We really need to talk about what the problem is. Okay, this is the problem. Why are we here? Like, why are we having this problem? We're identifying what the problem is, but then also finding a solution to the problem, but not just fixing that, finding like what is it about you that's creating this problem, right? And I just had this conversation with she's younger than me. I call her my little sister / best friend, but she was going through some issues, and I picked her up and I was like, okay, this is the problem. But the problem is, what is the problem? What do you need, right? And then the conversation and advice I had to her was love yourself, know your worth, right? And we went through this situation. I was still able to be there for her. I was still able to show up for her. But I was also able to like teach her how to problem solve, teach her how to love herself, teach her how to like regain her focus. And that's important. That's one thing that I didn't have. So communication is everything with the people that you love, you value, you appreciate, but also love yourself first and think things through. You know, don't always be ready to just jump on what someone else thinks or feels like is right for you. You know, learn how to do those things in a different type of way to get different results, because I could have handled issues the same way I've handled issues in the past, but I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you because I'd probably be in booking. So, yeah, definitely being smart about it.
All right. And so what ultimately what do you have to share with the people? So we kind of wrap it up. What would you like to as a final word, let people know?
Just let them know that it's acceptance. That I know when you walk out those doors, you know that there's acceptance. And with that acceptance, I mean, you can accomplish anything. You went through a process that has sharpened you and made you a better version of yourself. If you've done what you're supposed to do through that process. It's an unfortunate process, but I accepted a long time ago that I needed that process to probably maintain my life, first of all, to still be living, but to be the person I am today, to be a responsible individual, to be able to contribute something to society. I needed that. I needed that incarceration. I needed to go. I needed to be sat still. I needed to learn. I needed that information available to me. I needed to meet the people that I met, all that. I needed to see some things to be able to learn the contrast, realize and change my perspective on what I thought was true, wasn't true. So just acceptance. Understand that you're not different. You're not an alien, as you would say. You're not an alien, but that there's people out here just like you, that you can be successful as you want to be, and that you are accepted. You know, and the people that don't accept you are the ones who have a problem.
All right, Brother Freeman, you have a final word or thing that you want to communicate, at least this week or this moment?
No, at this moment, I'm going to leave on his words.
Her words. All right, well, look, now, I trust, pray, and hope that you guys, come back and continue to do this and communicate to the community and to a broader audience, not only because, here in the United States, we have mass incarceration now in Baltimore, Philadelphia, D.C., Atlanta, Orlando, Tampa, Houston, I know even city, Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis. I'm just here, east to west, New York, that's the Queen City, they have the same